From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the Hourly News Blast. LGBTQ Nation is reporting that two of Wisconsin's largest pediatric hospitals have stopped providing gender-affirming care for transgender youth, Wisconsin Public Radio reports. Children's Wisconsin and University of Wisconsin Health have ended the treatment for minors after pressure from the Trump administration. Advocates say the end of gender-affirming medical care will lead to negative mental health effects for trans youth. In a statement, Children's Wisconsin cited escalating legal and federal regulatory risk facing providers across the nation as the reason it is currently unable to provide gender-affirming pharmacologic care. The hospital added that LGBTQ plus children should be treated with support, respect, dignity, and compassion. The hospital will continue to offer mental health services for patients and families. In December, the Department of Health and Human Services, under the direction of Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., announced plans to end all Medicaid and Medicare funding for hospitals that provide gender-affirming care to minors. Under my leadership and answering President Trump's call to action, the federal government will do everything in its power to stop unsafe, irreversible practices that put our children at risk, Kennedy said, announcing that funding threat. This administration will protect America's most vulnerable. Our children deserve better, and we are delivering on that promise. If you were really delivering on that promise, maybe you would kick up the level of vaccines that children receive rather than attacking transgender youth. But no, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you're a goddamn idiot. In reality, gender-affirming medications for young people are considered by every major American medical association to be safe, reversible, and essential to the well-being of trans youth. But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., because you blow out nothing but bullshit every time you open your mouth. UW Health said its hospital system will pause prescribing puberty blockers and hormone therapy for patients under 18 years old due to recent federal actions. The hospital remains committed to providing high-quality, compassionate care to LGBTQ plus patients as long as they go to Canada, officials said in a statement. We recognize the uncertainty by our impacted patients and families seeking this gender-affirming care and will continue to support their health and well-being, they said, just as long as they leave the goddamn country, where they'll be safer. Steve Starkey, Executive Director for Outreach, LGBTQ plus Community Center in Madison, said the consequences of ending the care will be grave, as in they're going to be digging a lot more graves because the suicide rate's going to go up. It will definitely have a negative impact on the rates of suicide and the mental health of the trans community in general, he said. It affects trans adults as well, because it's like an attack on all trans people. Well, duh. Starkey pointed to rates of suicide and suicidal ideation, which are already high for the trans community. A 2023 study by the Williams Institute at the UCLA School of Law found that more than 80% of trans adults had suicidal thoughts, while more than 40% had attempted suicide. Those are staggering numbers. For trans people of all ages, being able to express themselves in the gender they feel that they are is important for their mental and physical health, Starkey said. By not allowing trans people to do that, to have the support, it just means that they are not able to be wholly who they are. In the last week alone, hospitals and clinics in Orange County, Riverside, and San Diego, California, and in Tacoma, Washington, too, announced plans to shutter gender-affirming care programs for trans youth. Again, Canada is looking like the better option for all of us. Those closures follow dozens of other hospitals and even healthcare facilities ending the care under the threats from the Trump administration in the form of funding cuts or investigations initiated by Pam Bondi at the Justice Department, even before last month's federal funding ultimatum. A year ago this week, Trump issued an executive order vowing to end what he called the chemical and surgical mutilation of children with gender-affirming care. What about the the mutilation of children over at Epstein Island? What about that, Trump? Republicans have used these terms to outrage people and vilify medical providers of the care, but puberty blockers and hormone replacement therapies don't mutilate kids. And gender-affirming surgeries are rarely, if ever, conducted on minors. If anything, if you're suffering from gynecomastia, you're probably going to need to have some sort of top reduction. only because that's precisely what gynecomastia causes. A protester at Children's Hospital of Orange County this week described the same care as life-saving. I'm a transgender woman, and I'm here to tell you that denying people this gender-affirming care doesn't make gender dysphoria go away. Stephanie Wade, chair of Lavender Democrats of Orange County, told LA IST, all it does is make it metastasize into suicidal depression, and I've been there. I dealt with this as a child. We can't take this away from kids. And yet, Stephanie, we are repeatedly because of Trump, the Orange Menace, the Pumpkin Fuhrer. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, help is available. Call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. The Trans Lifeline, 1-877-565-8860, is staffed by trans people and will not, I repeat, not contact law enforcement. The Trevor Project provides a safe, judgment-free place to talk for youth via chat. Text 678-678 or phone 1-866-488-7386. Help is available at all three resources in English and Spanish. That's the News Blast for this hour. If you're watching our news videos on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and tell the Pumpkin Fuhrer to go to hell. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, and Alexa. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.